Hello, everyone. Welcome to another chapter of Woman in Progress. My name is Hycent, and today we're going to be talking about healing. So, about a while ago, let's say about 2-3 months ago, when I first asked God, like, okay, what should be the next topic? Like, that was after my conversation with Ada. That was after the topic or the conversation with Ada. I asked God, I was like, okay, what's the next topic? Because before I make any episodes, I have to ask God what the next step should be. And then he said, healing. And instantly I was like, no, that's not possible. I'm not going to talk about healing, because the one philosophy or mantra that I told myself I was going to live by is that whatever I'm preaching, I'm going to make sure that that's something I'm practicing. And when he told me to talk about healing, I definitely didn't feel like that was what I was practicing, because at the time, it was funny because at the time I had just gotten, like at the time I had just gone through something that looks similar to a breakup. It wasn't particularly a breakup, but it did look like a breakup. And I was just getting out of that. And so many other things had happened in the past last year. I had lost many friendships, past trauma replaying itself in my life. Like, so many things were happening. And so I just didn't feel like it was the best time for me to be becoming a woman in progress to discuss healing, when I myself should actually be sitting down and like healing. So that's the conversation I was having with God. I was telling God, like, can't do it. And then he said, hycent, what's healing? And I was like, I don't know. Healing is when something happens to you and you try to like fix that thing that happened. Like, you're trying to move forward from that thing. And then he said, that's the exact place where I got it wrong. And this is it. That was the exact place I actually did get it wrong. Because my entire life, I've been thinking that healing was something, like, it's something inside of me that I needed to fix, so that every other thing would be working perfectly fine. And so I could forget about everything that had happened. And that's the only way I could move forward, by fixing something. But God actually changed my perspective that day, when he told me that healing is more about actually focusing on living than actually fixing something, right? And I was like, okay. So I began to ask myself questions. You know how when God exhausts all your options, you get to a point in time where you are now asking questions. And at the end of those questions you're asking, you are going to find answers that will lead you to peace. So I asked myself, I was like, okay, what does it mean to live? What's the meaning of living? What does it mean to live? And not even from a philosophical standpoint. Like, I was really asking myself, like, okay, the basic meaning of living. And it just means to be alive. And then I was like, okay, then what does it mean to be alive? To be alive literally means to be an existing being with breath and consciousness, right? And I was like, I've been thinking like a philosopher, like this entire time I've just been thinking. And I was like, okay, if the entire point of healing is for me to actually just live, is for me to just exist, is for me to step into the consciousness of like understanding that I'm actually a human being that is alive, and there's so much more ahead, and I need to live. What does it mean to live? One word: to experience. And anyways, that's by the way. Like, let's go back to healing. He gave me this analogy. It was so perfect. Like, I think I even cried when I heard this analogy. He said, envision that you have an injury on your thigh right here. You have like an open wound, and you go to the pharmacy and they put a band-aid over your wound, right? The band-aid is not an instant fix, right? It's not an instant fix. Your injury does not automatically just go away. First of all, sometimes you might have to take drugs for the pain. Sometimes you might have to put something over it to like reduce the bleeding. Like, there are so many things that go into the process before the band-aid is put on the injury. And even when the band-aid is put, there's a certain amount of time that goes into that injury before it actually, heals and comes back to normal. And he said that's how it is with the heart. Like, when you're healing issues of the heart or mental, whatever, healing. He said that's how it is, basically. And is that it's a continuous process. Healing is a continuous journey. Healing is not just put a band-aid over it, fix it, and it's gone. No, because for things to happen to you and you realize that, oh my God, this has actually changed the course of my entire life, for you to even realize that there's a problem, it means that there is actually a deep-rooted problem. And the only way to solve it, is not to fix it. It is to actually, okay, step into the consciousness like, okay, there's something wrong. What happened? When did something go wrong? How did it go wrong? How has it shaped me into the person that I am today? Do you get? Anyways, yeah. And there's something I realized about healing, and it's the fact that when God wanted to bring it to my attention that I needed to take some time to work on myself, He isolated me, right? It was like, I lost so many friendships, I lost so many relationships, I lost so many things. And I was now in this season of singleness, this season of loneliness, this season of isolation. And it felt like I had literally lost everything and I didn't have anything left. And it was so confusing to me because I felt like I should not have to be going through something like that. The worst one was when I even realized that I hurt other people. Like, part of the reason why I lost relationships is not because people just woke up and they decided to leave me. It was because I played a role in hurting other people and they had to distance myself because I was the toxic one at some point in time. And I did not realize, I didn't realize any of this until He called me into a place of isolation. Like, I dealt with so much self-hate, so much self-deprecation, so much low self-esteem. Like, so many things were wrong and I didn't even realize until I was in a place of isolation. And that's when I started to ask questions. And that's when I actually started to allow God to break every philosophy that I had. And He gave me new beliefs. He gave me new ways of thinking. He gave me new ways of actually seeing things. And that's when I realized I played a role in people leaving me at the point in time when they did, right? That is not to say that for you to heal, you need to be isolated, because there are so many people who need to heal with community. So you just need to understand what works for you. You might need to have your friends around when you are in your process of healing. You might need to have your family around when you're in your process of healing. You don't necessarily have to be alone. So you have to pray and understand what exactly works for you, right? Yes, that's one. 2, hurt people hurt people. This is how I am. This is just the kind of person I am. I feel like we all need to grow up from that mentality because it's just nasty, right? I feel like it's an excuse. I know it's an excuse. Thinking that making yourself a victim, first of all, the first step towards healing is actually getting rid of the victim mentality, because nobody owes you anything. And you cannot say, this is how I am, this is just who I am. But you are hurting other people and it's not fine. And I understand that you have been hurt. But that is not to say that you should go ahead creating this endless cycle of people who are hurting other people and who are hurting other people. It's just going to be a continuous cycle of hurt. And so if you feel like, if you are constantly feeling like a victim, if you're constantly feeling like every time there's an issue, other people are the problem, and you don't even stop to see if you might have played a role, then there's a problem. I feel like these are things that we need to begin to make ourselves aware of, right? You also understand that nobody is coming to save you. So being a victim and thinking that the world owes you something is a very, very, very deep-rooted problem that needs to be solved, because the world doesn't owe you anything. If anything, the world is actually even made to break you, because everything is as if everything is working to just break us as human beings. And if you are going to allow yourself to lose your character and to lose the very essence of your being just because you've been hurt, if you think that it's okay to treat other people wrongly and terribly just because you've been hurt, then there's a problem. And you have to very much be aware of that. You have to understand, first of all, that there's a problem before you can even begin to solve it. So the world doesn't owe you anything and nobody is coming to save you. And if you're going to come out of what you're facing right now, you have to fight and you have to take a stand for yourself so that you're able to come out of it. Capiche? Caploche? I feel like the very thing that I had a problem accepting was the fact that I needed to let go of a lot of the things that have happened. I needed to let go of how I've hurt other people. I needed to let go of how other people hurt me. I needed to just do a full-on letting go of a lot of things. It's very difficult to let go because it's like you're just completely removing all of those things that have been holding you back from actually stepping forward to who you are trying to become. And it's hard, especially when you have a victim mindset. It's hard to allow yourself to let go of things. But I knew I had to. And let me tell you one very, very, very defining element I had in my life growing up, and is that I had a stepmother, and she was like an incarnation of wickedness, right? She was a very, very wicked person. God bless her wherever she is today. And there were so many things that she did to me, and there were so many ways, so many patterns that she implemented while she was at the point in time when she was acting as a guardian for me. I won't say she raised me, but she acted as a guardian at some point in my life. And there were some things that she did that was very, very questionable. And up till today, I'm still living with those scars. And I see those things like playing in my friendships, in my relationships, even in my relationship with myself. I see it negatively playing out, right? And the entire time I've just always had that mindset, like, okay, I'm like this because I've been hurt. I'm like this because she hurt me. I'm like this because of the way she raised me. That's why I am like this, and this is who I am. But I refuse to allow myself to take up that identity, because the entire point of having free will as a human being is that you can see something and say, I don't want this anymore, and then you remove it. Why will I've lived with fear and anxiety my entire life, just because of the environment that she cultivated for me to grow in. But I'm no longer in that environment, so why should I continue to live like that? And that's the entire point of healing. Like, I've been living in the past since, I've been stuck there since, and I've been trying to fix my anxiety, but it is not my anxiety. There is no fixing it. The only reason why it's there in the first place is because I've been living in fear. I've been living in fear, thinking that I'm still in that environment I was in, but I'm no longer there. The storm has passed. I've literally moved past it, and I also need to come to the consciousness that I'm no longer there, and I need to move forward from that situation. And that's what I feel like everybody should be doing. When you go through a breakup, whether it's past trauma, whether it's loss, or friendships that have not gone properly, I feel like you sit a moment with yourself and find out what exactly it is that situation. No, find out exactly what the situation is. Then find out what that situation is doing to you. Then find out how it has shaped you into the person that you are right now. And then this is where you now start to build boundaries. You build boundaries that people who have, like, I didn't say create a wall and become a robot. No, build boundaries. For example, let's say you were in a relationship with somebody who was not particularly emotionally available. They were not catering to you emotionally, but you were pouring so much into them. Now you build an emotional boundary for yourself. I call it emotional chastity, emotional celibacy. Like, you be very, very conscious of who you are allowing yourself to be emotionally vulnerable and invested in. These are boundaries. I'm not saying that you should put up a wall and tell yourself that, no, I will not allow anybody to come close to me. No, that's very not healthy for you. Another thing is that you should set higher standards. Standards are what will save us as human beings, honestly. You can see somebody and say, yeah, this person is not a bad person, but this person is not for me, right? It doesn't even have to be relationships, even in friendships, like even in business partnerships, like whatever. When you see this person, you say, this person is not for me, and I would much rather steer clear. And I understand that I'm just talking about relationships and a bunch of things, but it goes deeper than that. At some point, we as human beings, we need to understand that we need to move forward from a lot of the things that have hurt us in the past, so that we don't project that over other people, because it's not fair. Another dangerous thing is that it might not even be our friends that we are projecting on, but there are a lot of things that you might need healing on, that if you don't work on it now, you project that onto your children. And those children that are still in heaven, they deserve way better. And even if you already have children and you know you owe it to them to heal, then please, by all means, do so. Because we don't want to raise another generation of people who are broken, another generation of people who are hurt, another generation of people who are suffering anxiety, another generation of people who have social anxiety, another generation of people who have depression. Like, as upcoming parents, I feel like we should do better for our children. Even parents need to heal. There are so many things that need to be done. And we have to, like, the cycle should end here. Put your hand on your chest and say, the cycle ends with me, because it truly does. If you believe that it ends with you and you put in the work to actually end the cycle here and now, then it will end. The last wisdom nugget that God gave me was that He said the opposite of healing is hurt, right? And that's where this very, very flawed saying that hurts people. I mean, it's not flawed, it's true, but I feel like a lot of people have now used it as an excuse for bad behavior, bad character. Hurt people. Okay, then grow up. Stop hurting other people, because that's not fair. Anyways, healing, the opposite is hurt. And I've realized that hurt perpetuates fear. Hurt will just keep you in a place of fear. You will live your entire life in fear. It's either you're afraid of allowing yourself to be openly vulnerable to somebody, or you're afraid of voicing your opinion, or you're afraid of going outside because the last time you went outside, somebody hit you. You will just be afraid of something. You are going to be a slave to fear, a complete slave and prisoner to fear. But you know what healing does? Healing perpetuates freedom. Healing will allow for you to fully grasp the magnitude of what happened to you. And when you grasp the magnitude and you understand how it has shaped you into the person that you are today, you realize that, okay, I could just create more boundaries, I could set higher standards, I could do things that will not allow me to find myself in that situation that hurts me. That's what healing does. It gives freedom. And I feel like it's something that is very necessary for all of us as human beings. Even in our interpersonal relationships, it's very necessary. If we want to be better partners, better friends, better mothers, better fathers, healing is very necessary. And I hope that you will heal. I will conclude by saying that healing is a continuous journey. You will not, don't allow yourself to be in this constant, because you are not a project that needs to be completed. Life, if you complete the project of life, it means you're dead. You're not a lesson that can be learned. I think you are a lesson that continues to learn, right? You are a journey that continues to progress. You are a process that continues to move. Like, there is no ending until there is an end. Do you understand? And I feel like that's the exact same thing with healing. Like, it is not, you sometimes you will still feel the pain that you felt in the past, so you cannot get rid of it completely. However, you can change the level at which it affects you. You can reduce the way it affects you. You can reduce the way, the hold that it has on you. So it's just a continuous journey. And I feel like at some point you look back and you'll be like, wow, I can actually go out now without anxiety. And I'm trusting that you are capable to make this move for yourself. Thank you. Please subscribe, like, and share. I don't like saying this thing because it feels like I'm begging, but like, please subscribe, like, and share, because I feel like this video could touch so many people and it could be so impactful to so many people. And I hope to see you on the next episode. Sorry, the next chapter. I'm calling it chapters now instead of episode. On the next chapter of Woman in Progress. God bless you.
God bless you.